3:30.
Yeah. I just read. I did too. That's what
That was the last one. This was 4 on the agenda.
It's only on at 3:30 today, right?
Yeah.
It's 3:30.
All right, welcome everybody. I'm going to call this meeting to order for January's Larimer Regional Opioid Abatement Council. Call it order and get things going. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody. We're going to get started. We have a very, very packed agenda. Actually, we got it down to where it'll be 93 minutes long. It should say 2 to 3:30 p.m. Sorry for the errors, but we do have hard stop at 3:30. So we're going to move right along. I do need to make some announcements. We did get a resignation letter from our lived experience, one of our lived experience, Christina Jones, over the weekend. She did send in a very heartfelt email appreciating her time on the council, but is going to take on some other tasks and items. So we just want to thank Christina for her time on the council and her wise wisdom as a lived experience person. So thank you, Christina. We also, Zeke is not here, but we do have a new member from the city of Loveland, representing city of Loveland. Zeke, is he online making sure? It's Zeke Cortez with the city council of Loveland. So we will formally introduce Zeke when he arrives, hopefully arrives. I was able to do a quick orientation.
Oh, I see it.
Hi, Zeke.
Hi, how are you?
Wonderful. Zeke, a few words. Welcome to the Regional Opioid Abatement Council.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I just recently got elected, and I saw that this was a board and commission that I could get on, and I was excited about it. And to be upfront, I have some lived experience with this specifically, and you know, I've been in Loveland for over 30 years and have 3 kids, 15, 8, and 4. Been married the last 8 years. I own my own business that I've owned for about 10 years now. Yeah, and I am very interested in local politics, and that's kind of what brought me here. And I'm excited, really excited to be a part of this specific council. So I appreciate the welcome, and I'm always free if anybody would like to reach out to chat. So thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, welcome, Zeke. Thank you. And then Trustee Youngman.
I don't like to speak in public. I'll give it a try. I'm going to stand over here so I can see everybody. I just want to sadly say I'm going to be stepping down from my seat as trustee in Estes Park come March. We have some family personal issues that we have to address, and it won't allow me to stay on this abatement council, which saddens me greatly. I have learned so much. I have enjoyed meeting and working with everyone, have made great relationships that hopefully we can continue. Maybe someday I'll be back, who knows? But this has just been a very dear to me assignment from my council, and I've taken it very seriously and enjoyed every step of the way. Hopefully, I was going to announce it next month. I'll be virtual on that meeting, but I will be stepping down at the end of March, so I won't be attending the March meeting. It's a few days before that, but I'm sure Mayor Hall will make sure the replacement is even better than what the wisdom I brought to this table. So thank you very much. I appreciate everything, and I will continue to keep track of this and come to the conferences if I can and things like that. So thank you, everyone.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Trustee Youngman, it's been an honor and privilege to work beside you. We've been working together for a long time, and we've done some tours and got some conferences. And never a doubt for me, you always have the heart of Estes in front and center for you, especially the kids in the schools, and making sure Estes got its fair share of getting some resources up there. And I'm gonna miss you, and I know you'll be around, we're gonna stay connected, it's not goodbye, but it's been really an honor and privilege to work with you, so.
Let's give it. One thing I very much appreciate, but Christine, you didn't only just read the packet, you read them. And yet some of these
I always
packets,
try.
they're 100 pages long, and I bet you go page 54 line.
Uh-huh.
And that just tells you your commitment and passion to the work we're doing. So
I agree.
that's,
Well, thank you.
we'll miss that 100%, because I could always rely on you to find stuff.
We're gonna have to step up more.
We are, Commissioner, we are. Any other announcements? Okay. Public comment. Do we have anybody that would like to make public comment to the council? Hearing none, we'll close public comment. We'll go to item 3, which is approval of December 4th, 2025 meeting minutes. Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to move to the approval of the December 4th, 2025 meeting minutes as presented.
I'll
I'll
second
second.
that. Go ahead.
You got it. You got it.
We've got a motion from Commissioner and a second from Trustee Youngland. Anybody oppose that motion?
July and October.
Hearing none, making sure we do have some background noise on the Zoom. Thank you. Does anybody oppose that motion? Hearing none, that motion passes unanimously. Hey, can you guys hear us now?
Yes, thank you.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you, Tom. Good work.
So, Mr. Chair, I'll make my motion again, that I move that the meeting dates as presented are accepted for the year. And again, my thanks to Heather for being forward-thinking and then taking initiative to help us do that. Thank you.
Second?
We have a motion and second. Does anybody oppose that motion? Hearing none, that passes unanimously, yes. And ever since we hired Heather, we have been very, very organized and well. So this is great to have this done for the year. Okay, so thank you, Heather. Okay, next item on the agenda is item 5, and it's every year in our bylaws, it has elections for officers. Yes, ma'am.
Just before we do that, I've been told, okay, now they were letting us know they couldn't unmute themselves, but now they just said it was fixed. Okay.
Yeah, it looks like it's fixed now. Thank you.
Oh, good. We can hear you, Mayor. Okay, good. Can everybody hear and unmute and mute when they need to? We're moving on. Okay, so election of 2026 officers. In the bylaws, we have the chair, vice chair, and secretary. So how would we like to move forward for 2026?
Well, Mr. Chair, I would like to nominate you as being chair, and I'd like to continue as vice chair. I think we make a great team, and we've been very organized and with someone else, but I would like to nominate you. I think your staff, you also bring your staff, and I know we're using that, paying for those services, but it's a great team, and I think that that's going well. We should continue forward.
Well, I appreciate that. Do others agree?
I second that.
Awesome. You're good. You're good. Go for it.
Yep, I agree.
All right, so
I can second the motion.
thank you. That'd be great. We got it. With the motion is to retain the chair and vice chair as is, which is myself, Tom Gonzalez representing the Board of Health, and then Commissioner Shattuck McNally representing Larimer County as vice chair. Anybody oppose that? Hearing none, that passes unanimously. Now, we do have to motion for secretary, and Young has done a fantastic job, but will be leading us. So does anybody raise their hand to be secretary? Rupa?
But can I just clarify before I officially raise my hand?
Yes.
So I'm not actually taking minutes, right? I'm just
No.
reviewing minutes. Okay, then yes.
Yes, and that's a great point. And what the secretary does, and Heather, jump in, please, because you work with the secretary closely, is helps review the minutes every year, corrects and finds typos and those kind of things. And also, when we get emails, general emails, the secretary helps respond, and there's help. And Ann, is there anything else that you were?
I would like to, I had, the difficulty I found in it was, and which some of these were addressed in here, is we were getting emails wanting us to write a letter of support. And I was responding that we as a board would have to decide that. I didn't feel like I could, as secretary or a board member, just say, yes, we will. And although I see letters now, so a little bit more guidance on how to navigate those. Because I was like, well, if this was at the town level, I wouldn't be saying, oh, sure. Because I don't speak for the whole board.
Yeah.
So a little bit more guidance in that would have been helpful for me.
Well, let's make sure that.
Otherwise, yeah, it's not hard.
Great, it's not hard.
No.
And I think that was always, I think maybe we weren't clear, but that was always Mr. Chair. I think that we were always supposed to receive that and bring it back.
Yes,
Because
yes, we can be much also clear on that for sure. Well, does anybody want to make a motion? Got Rupa.
I will, yes, I will nominate Rupa as secretary.
I'll second that.
We got a motion and a second. Further discussion? Hearing none. Anybody oppose that motion? Hearing none. Well, thank you, Rupa. Look forward to working with you closely on secretary stuff. Thank you. Okay, now we're moving on to item 6 is Larimer County Opioid Abatement Advisory Group recommendations. This is a continued item from the last month and the previous month. So we put about 20-25 minutes on this. If you all recall, the folks from the Butler Institute were here back in our December meeting, and they said, well, let's just send out a survey and get some feedback. That's where we left it off. So here they are. We need to make some decisions, right?
Yes, that would
Okay.
be excellent. And everyone, yes, good.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, I'm sorry to interrupt you. First, I want to say, I know we all had some difficulty as advisory board members making the meeting because it's been a lot of
Yes.
scheduling. But I wanted to thank, is she here, Connie? I don't know if you want to share that, but I want to thank her for her work and leading and being involved. And she's been really a great resource that we've had
Sure.
access to for a year. And I didn't know maybe no one else knows that change, and I was hoping maybe you
Yeah.
could share that.
Yeah, thank
Oh,
you.
thank you, sorry, I'm making.
No,
you
you're
too,
good.
but-
No, I appreciate the prompt. No, so as you mentioned, my colleague, Kavi Salom, has now moved to CSU. So she took a position there in a family and community building programs, which is like perfect for her. And she's still in the community, so we're really excited for her, as well as the ongoing work that she's going to be able to do for the county. And I'm going to try and step into her big shoes. So bear with me. As we pass the baton, and so I'm gonna try and continue to move this work forward. I probably won't do as good a job as she did, but nevertheless, myself and I have two colleagues, Michael Holcomb and Callie Jefferson, who are not able to come today, but so there's a team of us who will continue to support you and move this work forward. So I can start with handing these out. Again, thank you, Heather, for and folks. Okay, so our advisory council met regularly, as Thomas mentioned, and we just to level set here, over the course of doing a environmental scan, working with the advisory group, and you've seen our final report, came up with a series of recommendations, or 9 recommendations in total, that we would propose to the ROAC to move forward. 9 is a lot, so we followed up with a survey to council members to get an idea as to what folks were thinking. So if someone could advance to the next slide, that would be great. Oh, thank you. Okay, so today, briefly, we're going to talk about these survey findings and then the recommendations that we had. And I should introduce myself and back up. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Meredith Silverstein. I'm the Director of Behavioral Health Initiatives at the Butler Institute for Families at the University of Denver. And we've been really happy to partner with the ROAC and CHA and Summit Stone and some other organizations in the community. So thank you for having us. Okay, so I'll move forward right to the key survey points. So this was a survey that was administered between December 10th and January 7th. We had a response rate of 67%. So 8 responses from voting and non-voting members. We did look at this data by voting and non-voting members. However, we're going to present it in its entirety here today to ensure confidentiality. And also because we didn't say that we would provide the results. So when we sent out the survey, the consent did not explicitly say that we would examine any results or present any results by voting and non-voting members. So we just want to be really mindful of confidentiality. So what you're going to see is all the responses. But generally, there was support to move forward on all the recommendations, and there was minimal opposition, mostly related to, as you might expect, administrative burden and cost, and disruption to established processes. So we really want to minimize that as much as possible. Next slide, please. Okay, so here they are. And I'm sorry for the little T that's hanging out there by itself. But anyway, the ones that are highlighted are the 4 that we recommend moving forward with. Those recommendations are further detailed in the handout that hopefully you feel a chance to review. The 4 we thought were the most doable and the least disruptive. So those 4 are to share additional information on the ROAC website. So things like, principles and mission and the items we've been discussing. And we know that there are some concerns with the website, but we feel like that's something that could be pretty easily done. Butler would be able to provide the content for that with your approval. And convene the ROAC grantees one time during each grant cycle. This is an opportunity, we thought, to really bring the grantees together, share, collaborate, do all the great things that they do together, network. We know that that's so strong and important in this community. That would, and this ties into the number 7, that this would take place of a 6-month oral report. So instead of having the grantees come in for a 6-month oral report, we would have an alternative we would recommend an alternative method for midterm reporting, a written report. If there were concerns with a grantee, that they could be asked to come in and present and have a discussion with ROAC about their programs and any items of concern or answer any additional questions. But insofar as having an opportunity for grantees to come together, we thought that, having talked about this with the advisory council, that we could perhaps collaborate with the BHS, and we know that they have an annual meeting, and take the opportunity. Many of the grantees that receive ROAC funding also receive BHS funding, a few of them don't, but to have that as a forum for folks to come together and really share resources and ideas and all those great things. So as part of our proposed ongoing work, if the council would approve, we would facilitate that process. Again, the other one was to replace a 6-month oral presentation with an alternative method of midterm reporting. And lastly, to develop a cross-site evaluation approach. And that can be like a 1-year plan. We would really recommend like a 1-year planning process to determine what is it that the evaluation would provide, what are the questions that it would answer, how would that information then be used to either guide funding decisions, allocate resources, et cetera. And so the other ones that were up here were to create a more accessible method to connect grantees with technical assistance, develop a standardized grant application timeline and application scoring rubric, convene an impartial review committee, explore legal options, strike flexible multi-year grantee agreements, and to establish and adopt a process for reviewing existing community needs. So it's a lot, sorry.
Yeah, thank you. And, full disclosure, Mayor Pro Tem Trustee Mason and I have been on this committee, and it's been really great discussions, and I've really been reflective on it. So I appreciate all the work and discussions, because I keep saying we're here in these seats and we've had some changes. We want to put a process in place to kind of explain how we got where we did and the decisions we made, but also, help bring a structure framework for future councils as the funding starts to decrease.
Right.
And this will help with, as we're all feeling the push of trying to make decisions based on shrinking resources and priorities, because everything's priority, but we have to prioritize priorities. So I just wanted to say that. Thank you for working with us. My first question, I have two sorry, Mr. Chair. You talked about the principles and the values. At the ROAC, we had those in the beginning, and the member had brought it up that, hey, you guys had talked about new ones, but I said we had ones already approved and we were working from those, and then we kind of reaffirmed those and voted on them. You're not suggesting changing them again. We're just going to put those that we have approved.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so, but sharing additional information on the ROAC website is fairly broad, but, that content would of course be approved by, something you discuss in the advisory council, bring forth to the ROAC. But the idea there is to just continue to put the information out, and that Butler would be available to assist with the content.
So just to clarify, you're not going to suggest changing the principles?
No, oh no, sorry, I just used that as an example.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
And when you talk about replacing the 6-month grantee oral presentation, I know that's really important for a lot of folks, because they get asked the questions in real time.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're talking about those are kind of together. How do you, and I know we talked about this, but I'm asking this for the benefit of others. How do we, when we get those reports, if we did have questions, how can we do that so timely we can get the answers before we get to a deadline or a time crunch that it feels rushed when we might want them to come in and speak or Zoom in? I don't remember all the things we talked about, but I do think that's one thing we kind of put that in place from the beginning, because we were worried about this money going out there, and then we find out a year later they didn't spend it like they had. And
Right.
And so I'm wondering, just to kind of give some folks some reassurance that, we still have some checks and balances there. I'm just wondering about that.
Yeah, I think the annual presentation would still, these are just the recommendations, so, move forward with the ones. But when we think about And I appreciate the opportunity to ask questions and engage with the grantees. As someone who's been a grantee of various sorts, various ways over the years, like I can say that honestly, like a 6-month oral presentation is pretty unusual ask of grantees. It takes a lot of work to pull that together. And that's not to diminish, the need for that counsel, but just to keep in mind that ultimately, like, these are folks out in the community doing hard work, and to minimize administrative burden wherever possible, which is something we can also talk about with the cross-site evaluation. I don't know, honestly, what your process is for reviewing so if I submitted my 6-month report, I don't know what the process is right now for review of that. And so that might be something to consider, because whatever that process looks like would be the opportunity to well, let's say we submitted a report and you had questions. At what particular point in that review process, I would anticipate like an email or a phone call if there were concerns over my work from yourself, or, I guess like there would need to be some sort of process in place, but that would, if there were a review of the 6-month written reports, then that would,
Yes.
On that same subject, I have some pause on that, because right now, for us, if we were to do away with that 6-month oral presentation, the information from the grantee would have to get to us in at least month 5, so that we would have time to review and get back with them, and they would know whether they have to appear or not. And I think already with the 6-month oral presentation, we're already at times getting information like, well, this is, month 1 through 3, and 4, we really don't know about 5 and 6, because, so to me, I'm wondering if we go this route, I feel we're probably gonna be even shortening that information, because they're needing to get back to us a month earlier than with an oral presentation, because they can make their presentation and then at the last minute plug in the updated numbers. And maybe not, I don't know, that's how I see the format, but we have a fiduciary responsibility to make sure that those funds are going to the areas and spent how we voted to make sure that those are spent. And in my years here, there's been times that it hasn't, and they've had to present why and what their approach to remedy that, and an extension, and all those things that I really think that can get lost or not maybe have as much attention to it if it's not an oral report. So those are just that's my feedback.
Rupa.
Do we reimburse on a 6-month, but in 6-month chunks?
It's the
Second half
second
is
tranche.
It's dispersed.
It's dispersed after the in-person, and when the ROAC approves the oral presentation, that's when it gets
So I think
released.
that's.
So it's usually month 7 or 8, actually, by the time we release the second half. I was at the last advisory committee for the first time, and there were some thoughts, and I'm just going to throw out an idea, because we're not necessarily going to solve what we're going to do. We just want to pursue it. And one idea I have is the reports and everything they do at the same timeline they always do. But all that comes to this board, this is just an idea, is you review it. And then if there are things you have questions about when you read the materials, you could say, I'd like them to come in and explain this. But I would also say, you could say, I want them to come in, but go ahead and release the money. Or no, I don't want you to release the money until I hear the answers to my question. It's just an idea.
Yes.
John, I appreciate you being here and definitely looking for ideas about this, because I do value what you share, because I share some of those concerns. That still have to be part of the meeting, because we couldn't do that by email, because us even saying that could create a meeting and be open meeting, so I want to be cautious with that. And then I know with shrinking resources and the hunger games out there for a lot of these organizations, any delay, I mean, I don't know how much more that will delay. I'm not saying it's not a great idea, I'm just trying to think of all the pros and cons, and I agree with trustee Mason, Youngland, sorry, that Mason's, Mayor Pro Tem, you know, we've had some that said, oh, well, I know we said in our agreement we're going to do X, but that's not working, so we went ahead and put the money towards this, and that was not, we've had those a few times. And so that makes me have pause as well. Thank you.
I appreciate that. As the chair here, I answer to be frank, neutral, but I put concerns in having this 6-month oral presentation be an alternate method. One reason, two things, is just for that. We get that update. There has been some nuances that we've had to adjust there, not on month 11, and now we have an issue. Also, we all know that the coming years, the amount of funding coming to this council is going to be significantly less. Most of this was front loaded. We've heard from David, the attorney to the council. So next year, year after, it's going to be significant less. There's not going to be the funding to grant 9, 10 grantees. And so we're going to have high priority discussions. But from there, we're talking 2, 3, 4 at the most. I think that at that time, the 6-month is not going to be an issue. Sure, this year it's going to be difficult because we have quite a few. We may have to extend a couple of meetings by half an hour to get through them all. But I think ongoing, that will not be an issue based upon the money is going to be substantially less in year 4, 5, and 6 on to year 15.
So back to you, I'm sorry if I forgot your first name. Meredith. And since I saw this committee, I think these were strong recommendations, and I think they're great recommendations, but you're saying today we don't have to, you're not saying we have to adopt all of them.
We cannot adopt all of them.
No,
Yeah,
no,
but-
not at all. We're like messengers.
So we wanted to, because I know you guys have come back a couple of times now, and I know that's valuable time for you, and for us. If we pick if we went ahead and move forward with ones we do feel confident about, and then continue kind of thinking about this 6-month, that might, then we can move forward since we're crunched for time, and then and I'm not trying to shorten this, but I think that has been the kind of the sticking point, is that 6-month, that maybe we're still not there, and we need to kind of have some more time, but we could move forward with some of these other recommendations.
That's fine. Yeah, I mean, sure.
Yeah, so just for the recommendation stuff in the 6-month one, I wonder if there's a way to maybe simplify the process for grantees to lessen the burden for them. And then the only other thing I wanted to say is, I'm curious why recommendation number 4 didn't make the priority list, because I feel like this council has talked about that as well. Because that could also help provide clarity to the grantees so they're not coming back multiple times.
Yeah,
I agree.
So if we're going to go back to 2022 and 2023, and the conversation was that there wasn't going to be really applications. It was going to be a targeted approach because we do not have a staff that does RFAs or some process to receive an application. And to move forward with that, that would be a big shift of policy. We can certainly have that conversation, but I'll be the one that opposed it because there's no application process right now. It's you come in a pitch. Here's how we could do something in the buckets of prevention, recovery, treatment, all of that. And then based on the funding, the council decides. So it's not really a scoring rubric or an application. It's more targeted approach using behavioral health services as kind of a foundation. That's how the past is.
So the council has a contract with Butler, correct? And is Butler going to be the one that implements these recommendations?
That's a good question.
Yeah, so that was part of the the purpose of bringing forth these recommendations. So, when looking through and in talking with the advisory council, that these are the four that kind of rose to the top as being the most readily applicable, the ones that we can put in quickly, especially looking at facilitating a grantee meeting and doing a one-year program evaluation planning process.
Yeah,
So-
and the reason why I asked that question is
Yeah.
because so it wouldn't be on staff, like county staff, to create the
No.
application and the scoring rubric, it would be on Butler.
But
And
there
so
would be a velocity change on that, that we've never done it that way as a council. So, and that's fine, we would have to have that conversation to change that approach. I just want to take a pause, those online, like Mayor Pro Tem Mason and Zeke, like making sure I'm not missing you. Yeah, I got a hand up now.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. I fully agree, I think, with what's been said as far as the 6-month oral reviews at this point, especially the comments that Trustee Youngland made. That was kind of the concern that I had shared originally, which was that, I would prefer that we do see these folks in person. I mean, if the council has questions and these types of things, I think we need to be able to get those answered before funds are released. And I do appreciate the suggestion that was made that maybe we could have funds be or have the council say, hey, we would like you to come in, and the default option is that they don't have to come in. But again, I figure, coming to these things, it's a once every 6 month deal. I mean, if in my opinion, that does not sound like a big lift to me personally. So if these folks, if the grantees want this money, I think they need to come in and again, we are fiscally responsible for what we're doing here. So I would personally like to have them come in and do the oral report as we've been doing.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Yes, Commissioner.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Mason. I agree. And I also think we need some kind of, and I want to talk about a cross-site evaluation approach, some kind of, when we look at all these, they're coming before us, and we have our notes from reading it, but it would be nice to have some kind of rubric or cross-evaluation approach so we could compare oranges to apples.
Sure.
We're gonna really have a hard time narrowing this down and having something to compare return on investment or outcomes or a targeted audiences, so that we can maybe have those all side by side instead of just kind of going, I know I'm always like, oh, I saw that, where was that? And how do we help us when we have all these folks in front of us?
Right.
Remember, but yeah, like the 2 or 3 coming next week or next month. So I think we still need to look at having some kind of standardized, not saying we'll do this willy-nilly. I think we worked so hard as a council, and I'm grateful for everyone and all their time. But it would be nice to have a standardized, so we can all be evaluating for this, scoring some things that I don't know if Butler can do that. I do think that is something we could use, so.
Okay. A couple of approaches in the time. I appreciate that. There are the 4 recommendations. We can go by each one real quick and move forward. And that question does have to be asked, is that something Butler doing?
Yeah.
For example, jumping to 1, if I may, that's on the county's platform website. So Butler cannot go get into the county's website and go update that. That's my staff that have access. There are some challenges using the county platform because we have to follow some county rules, and there's some language issues and stuff like that that are being presented to us. So in that case, if I'm concerned adding more additional ROAC stuff. That may mean ROAC has their own website down the road. So there's some more pieces to the website part too as well. But we can certainly go 8731 and in those discussions and move forward if that's the desire of the council.
Yes, so I just have a comment and then I'm ready to make a motion. I believe one thing that might be helpful on the 6-month oral presentation is we know about the nonprofit. We understand what they're doing. So you know, they maybe don't have to make it as elaborate as what we've seen in the past from some. I mean, it's great, but I know it takes a lot of work. You know, we're just wanting to know the down dirty facts, what they've done, what they were supposed to do, did they meet their marks, things like that. But with that said, you know, I agree that I think we need to talk about the avenue of ROAC having their own website. So that way we can maybe take advantage of Butler Institute taking care of that and not commingling it with Larimer County. But I can see that as, I think it would be a good priority, but not one that we can move on right away. I would make a motion to move on 3 and 8. I purposely am leaving out 7 because I would like to keep the 6-month orientation, oral presentations, I mean. So I would make a recommendation to go with 3 and 8 at this time.
Is that a motion?
Yes.
Should a second on that motion?
I would second that, but I'm gonna ask trustee, if she wouldn't mind maybe considering 4, because Butler could have, I do think it'd be nice for us to, because we have all these ones coming this month, that month, and we have to keep track, but if we had we don't have time to have people come talk about outcomes and research and what's working, and we really have spending all of our time, almost every meeting, looking and doing all these. It'd be nice to have just kind of a standard grant application and application scoring rubric, just, you know, that might also help with the 6 months down the road, but I know it wasn't a priority, but I'm wondering standardizing that and having them all kind of in one quarter of the year or something, the rest of the year we can get some other information. So just wondering,
I agree, but I don't think that's doable in this year coming up. I think that's gonna take some time, and maybe I'm not,
I'm in agreement.
you know, I think maybe looking at that in years to come, you know, down the road, that would be great, but I think with this funding year ahead of us in 2026, I don't know that that'd be possible.
but it's something they could start to develop.
And I would agree with that.
So that says develop, so it's
Yeah.
not something we would implement now that they could work on. But by the end of the year, we could have this for the next cycle, we could have that whole year to work on that.
As funding goes down though, aren't we going to have fewer and fewer? And does the time spent by Butler and the funds going to do that, I mean, that would have been nice to have when we had a lot of them, you know, that would be my only thing, but yeah.
I think this
I'm
would,
open to
I
that.
think that would help us. And we can, develop it and then we have something to.
So
I think my motion I would like to see my motion stay, and
Okay.
then we could address that number 1 and number 4 with a different motion maybe.
Okay.
So the motion is to be clarified 3 and 8.
And I will,
And Butler Institute would be facilitating those.
Okay. Any further conversation, Ryan, regarding the motion second? Anybody online, just making sure I'm not missing anybody, but I only see one Hollywood Square. Okay, anybody oppose that motion? Hearing none, that passes unanimously. Any further conversation regarding recommendations?
Mr. Chair, I still would like to look at developing, kind of getting a standardized for going forward a grant application. I know it wasn't recommended, but it did make the list, and having application scoring rubric would also maybe help with when we have applicants who maybe aren't a strong application, maybe shouldn't come in front of us as we get lower and lower money, right? That maybe they're not fiscally settled, or just kind of help us prioritize or rank them a little bit. I really think it would help us be able to be quicker going through all of these. And while they're working on these other with developing a site evaluation, they're working on that. To me, it also would make sense to maybe develop at the same time so they can be overlapping or considering.
Yeah.
So I would like to make a motion to also approve number 4.
I'll second that.
The motion is second, further conversation.
So one thing I'll just add to the commissioner's point too is as our funding decreases, the number of applicants that we're gonna get is not gonna decrease. So, I mean, as we get more applicants with less funding, we do really need to have at least a standardized way that we're scoring what we're receiving.
Thank you for that. Mayor Pro Tem Mason.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Commissioner, I would almost wonder actually if we are going to include number 4 and do the standardized grant application, I mean, is it worth also pursuing number 2? I mean, if we're going to have that standardized grant application and grantees have questions about, will want assistance with the application or things like that, I mean, is it worth also bundling recommendation number 2 also in there?
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Mason. Yeah, I think that's a great point, and I would be open to adding that because I do think helping grantees understand would be helpful. So I would be open to that amendment to my motion, sir.
Who was the second on the motion?
I was the motion.
I was the second.
Do you accept that?
Sure.
Any further conversation? I'm going to say that I'm going to be a no on this, and the reason being is it comes back to the conversations many that were 3 years ago about not having applications and RFP in a process until we have that conversation. Because I need to understand who's reviewing them, who's posting these applications. That was not our strategy. Our strategy was a targeted approach because we did not have a staff at that time. So if we start going that way, it's a change in philosophy on this council that we've not had. So I'm concerned we're putting the cart in front of the horse and moving down a mechanism, but we philosophically we've not discussed and have our attorney involved and understanding what all that means versus the approach we've been taking for the last 3 years. So that's my concern, is that something we're changing course without a conversation. So that's why I'll be a no.
Mr. Chair, so do we have any if we were going to consider this, I'd be willing to table this until next meeting, this motion, if that would be okay, if you want to have that conversation, because I agree with you, that was really a strong, for us, we wanted to move quickly and get the money out and be targeted because we have a really strong network. And I agree, I want to honor that is a big change, and maybe we should have a big discussion. We have new folks, and I would like to make sure we do that while Trustee Youngland's still available because she's been here from the beginning, and so would you mind if we table that discussion? You want to go ahead and take a vote, or I'm trying to say, do we take a vote and delay it until we have the philosophy discussion? But
So for me, taking a vote on the particular motion would the council would be signaling that yes, we do want to change our philosophy. And then so if council agrees, then we would go ahead and have that discussion. If council disagrees, then we'll just keep going.
Okay.
My concern with that, though, is after the discussion, I guess we could always make another motion that we decided not to go that route. Because I do think you make a very good point, Chair, that we need to have, it's not really cut and dry. We need to see all the different facets of it, how it's going to be facilitated, and I'm not sure we would be able to move forward, and maybe we will be able to. That would be my only concern, is if after learning all these things that I'm not sure we can get through it and dive into it in just one meeting, but maybe so, we would have that. I think it would be more appropriate then to make the motion after that discussion than ahead of it.
That's my agreement. And then we have to understand resources. These folks have jobs that I asked them to do, and they're doing this on top of it. They're now posting applications and all of that behind that. Is Fort Collins gonna do that, or is it Wellington? Those are the questions. The health department cannot take that on. It's a huge endeavor. Behavioral Health Services does, and I'm pointing over at Jessica, because she does that, and I know how much time she spends, because I get involved a little bit. So that's my reservation. Not that I don't disagree with it. We gotta have that conversation, understand the resources, the time commitment, who's doing it, and all those fun things. So that's why.
And I would add too that when we talk about like a cross-site evaluation approach, that by itself is a significant chunk of work that would require possibly like pulling in some of these other threads as well, right? So understanding like what are that outcomes that folks are really interested in knowing, so that you can help inform future funding decisions, you know, those and how and you know, going back to this, I don't want to put the 6-month oral presentation, like if we had a consistent if we had consistent metrics upon which every grantee were reporting, then that kind of you know, that would open the conversation as to like what did that look like going forward. If everyone was reporting, I'm just going to make this up, number of people that they serve, number of Narcan kits that they distribute, you know, all those things, that would push on some of these other things as well. And yeah, so I'm not complicating the conversation, but an evaluation that encompasses all the grantees will probably help inform some of these other areas.
We'll just have to jump. We are 15 people, we have 6-month reports.
I'm so sorry.
So just making sure we all are aware of that.
So it sounds like we need more conversation. And so I will withdraw my motion.
Okay?
I agree. I'll withdraw my second.
Okay. What we do have is the motion that passed is 3 and 8, and that works beginning. Wonderful. I appreciate this. This has got great conversation.
Yeah.
Thank you, Meredith, for your
Thank
time.
you.
All the work.
Thanks for
And the
considering.
advisory committee, because that's been fantastic.
Yes,
work
thanks
as well.
for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, financials, Janelle is not here today, but John, you're the backup, pinch hitting, whatever, yeah.
And I'll try and, the next few items I'm gonna kind of speak to, and so I'll go as fast as I can to kind of make up some time. Financial report, you have there, and I printed the bigger one so I could read it easier. But there's kind of 3 points I want to make. 25 being the first set of numbered columns. We budgeted $3.2 million, and we have spent all but 446 because of the second half payments haven't been released yet. So those will be carrying into the 26 budget, but they're already committed, so they're not available for awarding again. But that's 446 will be carried forward. You can see that in that third column of numbers under 25. On the 26 funding year, we're expecting 2.6. We have almost all of that. There's a little bit left that they're expecting by the end of January. And then one last thing, if you could scroll to the bottom just a little bit, there's some notes at the bottom. Specifically, the COAC has asked us to reclassify 2 of the approved uses for La Familia and the Northern Colorado Health Network. They don't like using the G0, which is kind of the introduction to a whole section. And so they really want more specifics, and they've recommended that we move these 2 to P13 and C15. And that's what we've done in the budget, both reporting historically as well as going forward.
Do we need a motion then to, because I was at that meeting and I saw we were flagged, so, but we were only one flag and there were lots of other people had multiple flags, so just want to say that, but thank you for being on that and going to those meetings. So we need a motion to.
It doesn't hurt, we get this every year, but it doesn't.
I think it might, because we're
Wouldn't
moving,
hurt.
yeah, we're moving, it's a vote that we took to put in those buckets, and so I will move that we take the recommendations from the COAC and to reclassify the Familia that was a G.0 to B13, and the Northern Colorado Health Network that was G.0 to C.15 for the 2026 budget.
Second.
We have a motion, second. Any further conversation? Hearing none, although anybody opposed that motion? Hearing none, that passes unanimously. Thank you.
And one last thing on this page is the 2026 total that we'll be working with as we go to award and Alec, we budgeted at 2.9. So, you know, a little bit less, but some of that was carryover. So it's not as big a drop as it may look like from 3.2 to 2.9. So that's that. That's it on financial report. I got the administrative costs next.
Yep. Yes.
And a little bit down to see the grand total. The 29,145, this is very in line with what we've been spending about every 6 months of administrative cost reimbursement. I want to point out one thing, that I am being radical with COAC, and that for the amounts from health space, you can see that there's an indirect rate of 2,700 that I'm asking for. We allow everybody else to have indirect. Why can't we ask for 2? This is to cover all our IT costs, and everything else that we have administratively to support the program. The ROAC said, we'd like to bring it up at our February meeting, so whether they approve reimbursing us, allowing us to get reimbursed for that. But either way, this is what we're going to request, but we won't process the 2.7 until we hear from the COAC, if you're okay with that.
Yes, ma'am.
I appreciate you bringing up that, John. I've always been concerned about all the indirect costs with the cybersecurity and all those things. And that's one thing I want in the future we talk about the website is, you know, all those things. But I think that I'm fine with that. And it's still, knowing how amazing you are and the staff time, and even this week, the county attorney, I always have to say this, I'm always amazed. This is not higher, and I appreciate that this is so well detailed, and I appreciate the work that you do. So I will make a motion, unless there's further discussion, Mr. Chair, to approve the admin expenses as presented with the caveat of the 276382 for indirect to be added if the COAC approves. I second.
Got a motion, second. Any further conversation? Hearing none. Anybody opposed that motion? That passes unanimously.
I'm
Yes,
sorry,
ma'am.
do we need to approve the budget or the fiscal report? The
We don't,
Budget
no.
report, okay.
Yep, thank you, though. On to stipend. Is that next, John?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm less versed on this, but we've got 3 questions if you read, and I think we talked a little bit about that last time. Would the ROAC like to offer stipends for the lived experience folks for 2025? So this is in arrear, that's question 1.
I would like to see us stay with that philosophy or value going forward to offer that to the folks with lived experience.
Okay. Question 2 is sort of along that line. Because this is compensation, we have to write them a paycheck because it should be taxed. So it's coming out of the county paycheck system. We want to reimburse the county afterwards. So question 2 is, can we reimburse the county for cutting paychecks for those stipends?
Mr. Chair, you know, this is a priority of mine because the county is facing a lot of budget constraints from the federal and state government by shrinking our resources. And I think I know a lot of other ROACs don't have the fantastic administrative support with the county being a fiscal agent. And I think sometimes it looks so easy, you guys make it all look so easy, we forget it does cost money and time and staff, and I would like to make sure we reimburse the county for that. And maybe I'm a little biased, and maybe I should recuse myself, but I just want to remind everyone when I hear from other ROACs, you all do a fantastic job. Thank you.
So we need a motion of 1 and 2, correct?
Yeah.
Can I get a motion to
I'll make a
accept?
motion to accept question number 1, offering stipends for 2025, and also approving Larimer County to be reimbursed for those expenditures.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further conversation regarding this? Anybody online? I'm gonna make sure I'm not missing Mayor Pro Tem Mason or Zeke. Okay. Anybody oppose this motion? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. And then there is question 3. Do we have to do this every year? This is one administrative burden. Should we just establish an ongoing policy and just require annual review just like we do of the administration? That would be a motion to accept that idea.
I make a motion to accept a policy, letting ROAC, make stipends for our lived experience.
I'll second that.
Without review.
We do have a hand raised.
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem Mason.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The only question I have on this might be, do we, as far as our lived experience members go and meeting attendance, I'm just curious, do we, if folks decide that they're not going to show up for a certain number of meetings or whatever that happens to be, do we still owe them a stipend, or do we want to put a limit on that, or do we not care? I guess that would be my question.
Yeah, thank you for the question. The written policy there at least was, it would be 500 annual stipends for lived experience for elect members who attended 6 or more meetings in that year. That we would make that very clear. But it's at least.
My apologies. I totally missed that.
No
Mr.
worries.
Chair.
It's great that we got that pointed out. No, I appreciate you asking. No apologies necessary. So that is a great point. So and that would be clarified in the motion, that it is number 3, meeting that minimum requirements.
Yes, and I believe we will be starting to take attendance now, starting
Yep.
in 2026, so we would be able to have accurate numbers.
Yes.
That is something I wanted to add and discuss when we get to that point.
Okay.
Thank you.
So we got a motion. Do we have a second?
Yes, I was a second.
Good. Any further conversation on that? Hearing none. Does anybody oppose the motion? That passes unanimously. Okay. I think we're done with financials.
I asked a quick question about this item. So since we have a couple of lived experience folks that have come off, are we reopening that application?
That's a discussion I'm gonna have.
We got that. If we can get to 11, but that's on here. Yes, ma'am. Appreciate it. Moving right along, because we are behind time. Grant administration, we got a scheduled review of contract renewals, due dates, and new applications. John put this together, which I very much appreciate, because look at how many we've got. So John, would you go over this real quickly?
Yeah, really quick. What you can see is the 25 ones that are currently in process, and the beginning and end date of when that grant effective period is. And to avoid lapsing a gap between that contract and the next one, we put together where you can see the RORAC application due so that we don't miss those deadlines. So in order to make so that first group, the next contract ideally starts April 1. And in order to do that, we should have them all done by 3/26. Okay, but there's 7 of them. That's hard to do in one meeting. So we're proposing in the application due, this is when they turn them into us. And we put them in the packet for February 26th for the first 4. And the next group are due 3/16, and they'll be in the packet for 3/26, and so on, all the way down in the group. Each group has a different due date, because it would be kind of awkward for La Familia to turn theirs in now, when that's a long way off. And so that's why we're doing it this way. It's very similar to how we awarded them in the past. So when we were talking about an application consistency, it would be nice if they were all together, but this is how it all came about. And we'd have to do short ones or long ones in order to get everybody in sync. So.
We do have an action item there. So does anybody?
I'll make a motion to approve the presented contract dates and application review and due dates.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Further conversation? Hearing none. Anybody oppose the motion?
Thank you. This
Yeah,
is
very
very
good.
helpful.
This is great, John. Really helps us out. Okay, moving on to speaking of 6-month this.
of the new application part. So when we're gonna, great job.
You did that.
Yeah. Oh, we're gonna use the same request. We do have an application form. We're gonna use the same one we've done in the past, if that makes sense. Yeah,
That's it.
okay, that was it.
All right, thank you for Abundance Foundation. If we can, we know all about you. You guys are great. Just the 6-month report as trustee Youngman's proposed, so shorter.
I'll keep it fast.
Wonderful.
Everything's on track. So we hit everything, all the goals that we went through. Who's?
Sorry.
Oh. Cool. So yep, housing is on track. 63% are independent. But we were able to house, at least get everybody housed that we came across. Helped 282. All of our success rates are above what we were planning on going for. We're still working on. We've got a couple of options potentially for a bigger building, so we're working on that. Housing stability, individuals help. That was on the last slide as well. Keep going. The secondary outcomes, employment rates, positive outlook, community connection, spirituality, all really awesome numbers that we've been able to track over the course of. We're starting getting into the 3-year data now. So we're getting some pretty good overall data coming through, and it stayed pretty consistent with those outcomes. Again, normal population, the women's recovery side, which we made it a priority here, was 58%. Medicaid focus and our referral network, but we're still on track with about the same percentage that we were with the women's population. Last time there was a question asked about zip codes. So we had 57 that were in the Loveland zip code, 30 of which are women. The one thing to notice about that is that the zip codes are tracked by their Medicaid address. So somebody could be homeless in Loveland with a Medicaid address in Denver. We're still helping them in Loveland, but technically their address in our system shows up as Denver.
I still feel like that's really important for us to know and to track, and it's something
Yeah,
that.
so it's not a big, huge variable, but just so you know that is a variable. So it's probably higher than that. That's just what we have tracked. Because we don't get a lot of people that are coming specifically from another place intentionally. But that's one thing that we've got a system as part of the algorithm to keep those zip codes coming through too. Budgeting, we were on track with new staff hires, 4 people, wherever we bring on staff this last time with that. Supplemental materials, so supplemental group therapies. This includes like the men's and women's programming, equine therapies, fitness, all of those type of things that we do. That was the additional recovery coach costs. The housing budgets, women's recovery specific to Loveland was one of the things that was priority, so that's on there as well. I don't know why the total came up super dark on the bottom here, but they had 2,700, we're almost right on track with that. 2,765 was the carryover there. I think it was like 40, I think it was like 44,000 something, I believe. Yeah, we didn't need any modifications or anything else to that. One thing that we did realize, I did a review of the demographics a couple of days ago, and we were looking at their drug of choice, their DOC. And one of the things I've noticed is methamphetamines is significantly in the lead, number 1. Then alcohol is number 2, and fentanyl and heroin comes in a lot less at 3 and 4. So as far as this is the Opioid Abatement Council, so we do recognize like the mortality rates there, but when it comes to the detrimental impact community-wise, it's going to be something that I don't know if that affects this council at all, but as a Larimer County thing, it's one thing that hasn't fully been acknowledged yet, but that's the pressing concern that we see amongst our population right now.
Yes.
You know, that's really great information to have, and I appreciate you tracking that along with the zip codes. You know, we have to make sure we ask for that because this is opioid abatement, we have to have those go towards, opiate, use disorder. You rank those as the top 3 or 4, but how many of those reported maybe having poly?
Yeah, so that's the thing, is a lot of them are that. So a lot of people with the methamphetamine use is also fentanyl and heroin. Fentanyl typically being, I think, I'm not sure exactly whether it was the secondary between that and alcohol. Those were pretty close with the secondary to those. But yeah, but the methamphetamine, fentanyl combinations, like one's up, one's down. And so there, a lot of those are interchangeable with that.
And I'm sorry, I'm really thrilled, and I'm assuming the picture was of the women's house. That I appreciate you including that. But I did see the note on the carry forward about the strategic expansion for the women's recovery housing to meet an urgent community demand. Can you expand on that a little bit? Was that note on carry forward of the minus 2,765? Due to strategic expansion to women's recovery housing to meet urgent.
It's continuing to the housing need for women's recovery in Loveland is, we've noticed it's the sober living housing environment in general, but the women's population for whatever reason in Loveland is significantly higher than we anticipated it being, and it's significantly higher than it is in Fort Collins. So it's one of those things that like, we're looking at even the potential of like what our next options are is that another sober living house in Loveland that we're looking at, and whether to make that just another women's house and do more men's stuff that we have because there's more demand for the men's right now in Fort Collins, or make it make it another women's in Loveland. So I'm not really sure what the overall decision is going to be there, but the outreach from people that have contacted us there has been higher than that.
I appreciate you explaining that. Thank you.
Yeah.
I guess I'm still confused of why you didn't, are you saying you didn't spend 2,765 or you were over budget?
No, we didn't spend it in that department for that specific, and so that's what I mean, that carryover for the next 6 months.
Is gonna go towards women's recovery
Right.
because you,
Right,
okay.
so we didn't spend that, we didn't spend it in the first.
Okay, I just wanted to
dedicated to
clarify.
that.
And I really appreciate too, the focus on those areas. Hopefully you're able to continue that work. And I would like to see next time, I like the brief, to the point, you know, there's no sense of all the fluff, right?
Yeah.
But I really liked what you pointed out earlier, and I would love to see, since you've been in the grantee program for a while, is to next time have, you know, over years where your data is showing.
Yeah.
Just
We have all,
one slideshow.
we have all of that too.
Yeah.
Not just, that would take more than the 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But we
Yeah,
do
just-
have it.
Just one
Yeah.
slide showing,
Yeah.
you know,
We have all
what you've
those,
done in the last 3 years.
we have
how
all the
it's
graphs of, so we're tracking 90 days, 6 month, 1 year, 2 year, just started 3
gone.
years.
Okay, thank you.
And I wanted, I agree with that. Thank you for asking that question. And I also wanted to take note and thank you for adding and reminding us all that you're trying to address the people involved below the median area income.
Mhm.
And would love to have maybe even more details on that because I think that it's important for us to track and understand because that is meeting the need. And there might be folks in needs that have other avenues, but this one is meeting the need for those who don't. So I think that I'm really glad to see that in the report. Thank you.
Any other comments? I'd like to make, Brian, it's been great to, over the last couple of years, your data with meth and alcohol up there and then opioids goes along with what Dr. Olson and the data he has countywide, statewide, and that tells us we need to spend some time on meth and alcohol as well, as far as poor health outcomes. But I really just appreciate your reporting. It's getting better and better every time, and you're doing a fantastic job.
Trying to
And
keep
I
it
appreciate
concise.
that, and the work you're doing in Loveland, fantastic. Hats off to you and to the Abundance Foundation. I'm very, very pleased with the work you're doing.
Appreciate it.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the release of the next 6 months funding.
I'll second that.
Motion second. Any further conversation? Hearing none. Anybody oppose that motion? That passes unanimously. Thank you. Good work.
Thank you.
Good.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, we have our friends at the CSU Prevention Research Center, Dr. Nathan Riggs, to give their final report.
Final report. So yes, Nate Riggs, CSU Prevention Research Center. We're funded under the school-based prevention bucket here. Go ahead, next slide. This is a little bit complicated because some of year one's funding was transferred rolled over into year two. So what I'm gonna, and there were some common goals between the 2 years. So I'm gonna do my best to delineate what happened in year two for this report. We've had 4 goals. We've done some needs assessments. We've done a lot of professional development. We've scaled up the Blues program, which is a secondary prevention for high need kids for mental health and substance use. And then we've added in this second year, we've added additional programming that I'm going to talk about too. So next slide. Okay, really quickly, last year, the upshot of this slide is there was one evidence-based substance use prevention program across all 3 school districts in Larimer County. Keep that in mind. We'll switch to the next slide. One of the things we wanted to do was build up prevention capacity. So working with school professionals, parents, and youth on building up their prevention awareness and training. We did that through synchronous, mostly in-person trainings with school districts, with GSA alliances, and we went up to Estes Park a couple of times, did some family nights, and did some work with students as well. We also developed hours upon hours of learning modules that educators could engage with, increase their knowledge around prevention, selection, implementation, evaluation, and then they could take those credits and turn them into professional development credits within their school districts. We had 180 people engaged with this over the past 2 years. 86 of them completed this year, with another 90 or so that are still in process of getting those completed. We did some bonus stuff too, and they liked it. We reached about 580 total people with this professional development. Next slide. This is the Blues program scale up. So first year, a lot of it was developing and training. This year, a lot of implementation. So all 3 school districts, we trained 72 people to implement this program. We have 1 trainer. I'd like to return to that too in a little bit. 12 schools adopted it, 20 program cohorts, 112 students, statistically significant decreases in anxiety, negative mood, depression, increases in coping and belonging, all in about the medium effect size range. So some neat outcomes there. That's continuing to be scaled up across the school district. Next slide, please. This is not Larimer County, but we're also doing similar work in Douglas County. In Douglas County, we're able to ask kids about substance use. And so I wanted to address some questions about, is this actually leading to decreased substance use? In Douglas County, it is. We're seeing 53% decreases in past 30-day substance use, 51% decreases in plans to use, and 37% decreases in willingness to use substances. Okay, next slide. So hopefully that's also occurring in Larimer County. Okay, so this is specific to year two. A lot of training. We did this specific to the school district. So each school district had their own plan. In Poudre School District, they wanted to work with their LGBTQ and I students. We trained 28 staff to implement the Proud and Empowered curriculum. It actually led to an increase of 3 new GSA clubs that didn't exist before we started working with them across this school district. And we're continuing to work on that. Next slide, please. Okay, so in Thompson, they wanted to implement instead of suspending students, replace that with, if a student got caught using substances, then they go through this e-checkup to go program that decreases misperceptions of the norms of substance use. So, and that's a real strong predictor of future substance use, if you think that everybody's doing it, basically. So they would go through this program instead of as a diversion program. So next slide. And what we want to see is the change in the delta between this blue line and this purple line, because this is what the actual rates are And this is what the students thought at pretest or before they take the program. And you see that those misperceptions of these norms really decrease. So we're seeing some pretty good large effects, in some cases more than 50% percentage point decreases. So that program seemed to work this year. Next slide. And then in Estes Park, they were really interested in working with early social emotional learning programs for their elementary school students, so the second step program. The Wayfinder program is another similar program, but for the secondary students. So we worked with identifying that, implementing it, and then evaluating those two programs. And then training up facilitators in a parent program. It's called Guiding Good Choices. So we train them in year 2. They're going to start implementing actually next week. And one Latina cohort and one Caucasian cohort. And we can move to the next slide. So really basic evaluation here, but showing that the second step program had its intended effects. Okay, so just a recap, over 1,800 individuals reached, 20 e-courses developed and delivered, 8 professional development events developed and delivered. And then where we had 1 evidence-based program at the beginning of our work, we now have 7 evidence-based programs across the county. We were also called out in a national publication as an example of how to do this stuff the right way. So the Partnership to End Addiction used us as an example of the way to use these opioid settlement funds for prevention. Next slide. Here's our budget. This is the 2-year budget since stuff got rolled over. I'm actually pretty surprised that with all these moving parts, that we came as close as we did. About $450 left remaining. We can add that to the pot if we'd like. Next slide. One other consideration is I said that there was 1 Train the Trainer of Blues programs in Thompson. Pooter's taken a little bit longer. They now have someone that they would like to do the Train the Trainer of the Blues program. It would really enhance the sustainability of that program, and it comes out to be almost exactly that amount. So obviously up to the council, but something to consider. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I had already pulled up the data from the opioid, the article that you mentioned. I had it all ready to say, well done. It was also called out at the COAG meeting.
Oh, nice.
The Attorney General's office sent me the link to make sure I had the right one. Fantastic work. The data is amazing. And I just think the return on investment from the earlier access and intervention is going to pay off in dividends we can't even measure. So I just want to commend you. Well, I think it's great we got recognized, but really that's a lot of what you have done and brought this to us, and I really appreciate that. And so I just wanted to say thanks, and I don't know, I can send that report, and I don't know the rest of the council has gotten the John Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health dashboard, because again, Colorado and some of the things we're doing here in Monroe County are leading the nation, so I just thought it was good for us to see that as a council, so I might send that to Heather, Mr. Chair, and make sure we get that out. But if there are any questions, I would move to approve this fantastic 6-month report, and I also final report, and I want to approve this extended or keeping the 14,000 and adding this other let them use for the training for Pooter School District. I think this is money well spent.
Motion,
I second.
a second, further conversation. Yes, ma'am.
Very well done. The outcome is it's fun to see all those numbers and data and things are coming, and it's interesting to see the different schools and how they're navigating and how they feel their school needs, what direction their school needs to go. But as long as it's going up, that's great. So kudos to you and well done being recognized. It's your hard work yeah, you have the funds to do it, but you put the funds to work, so thank you.
I would also just add, the 3 superintendents and their staff, we meet frequently, they very much have been enjoying this journey with Nate and his team, and they've profoundly seen the impact. They've shared that with us, so this is exciting for youth mental health and prevention. Any further conversation? Anybody opposed? Pass unanimously. Thank you, sir. Appreciate your
Thank
stuff. Okay, folks, here's where we're at. We got 5 minutes left, 3 agenda items. We're not gonna be able to get them all. How would we like to tackle these? We do have letters that are time sensitive, that's 10. We have 9, which is somewhat sensitive over a contract. So 11, I think we could table unfortunately, but how would we want to tackle these? Anybody got ideas?
Mr. Chair, I think the letters, maybe we can approve them both, but I do have a concern about the Summit Stone letter. That letter seemed to have actions that the board, that our ROAC board would have to do.
Yeah.
Because we would have to, take time and do actions as a role. I mean, I love Summit Stone, it's not that, but it just seemed like that letter had some things that we would have to participate and have. And I don't know if we have the time or the capacity to do that. And so I don't know if anyone else felt the same, but I wanted to highlight that real quick.
So sounds like moving to agenda item 10, that's great. I had the same concern because we can barely get through a meeting and adding some commitment, that may be very challenging for us. Love Summit Stone, great work, but challenge. Any other thoughts, ideas, concerns?
I agree.
Could we approve the letters and then ask those other letters unless someone else doesn't have a letter just of support? I know, do you want me to finish this since one of those is yours?
Yeah. You could do that.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Because it is, at my agency on there, I want to make sure there's no perceived potential conflicts, so I will step out.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So my suggestion is maybe you approve all those unless someone else has another concern about any of the other letters, because they're just letters of support. Maybe we pull out the Sunstone Health Partners letter and just ask them to state that we have a concern and hope they can maybe send a letter back. I know it's time sensitive, so we might have to, I don't know how we address that because we would need to approve it. So that would be another conversation, but at least we can approve the others and maybe Mr. Chair and I, we can figure out how we're gonna get that other letter approved in a time sensitive way. So I would move that we approve under item 10, B, C, D, E, F, those letters as a letter of support from the Region 2 ROAC.
I'll second that.
Is there any further discussion or concern? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Is anyone opposed? Okay, we have those approved. The Sunstone Health Partners letter, if we pull that one out, can we have a motion to, Mr. Chair, we were just gonna move to have the Sunstone Health Partners letter forwarded back to Sunstone to request or register the concern about the actions for the ROAC, but we know it's time sensitive, so I wanted to move to have that sent back and have it come back, but I'm not sure how we would approve it quickly enough for the time sensitive nature of that.
Could we approve it if they remove some of the language?
That's an option, yeah.
Would you like to make that motion?
I don't know, I'm trying to pull it up about the
Yeah,
specific language.
I am trying to, does anybody reference that page number?
It is, I think it's 75.
75, thank you.
There it is on the screen too.
Yes, thank you.
Hey guys, I'm so sorry. I'm trying to raise my hand, but I can't actually find the button to raise my hand.
Well, hey, Leslie, yes,
Well,
we
hey,
got you.
sorry
Dr.
about that.
Brooks, please, yes.
Is it okay for me to sort of step out of my usual role and represent
Yes.
some of?
Yes.
Is that Thank you. We are happy to revise that letter. I take your point about the last sentence or the last sentence in the fourth paragraph that says, the Region 2 ROAC commits to serving in an advisory capacity, receiving quarterly progress reports, and ensuring regional coordination throughout implementation. I wonder if the committee would entertain the Region 2 ROAC commits to receiving quarterly progress reports and following progress through implementation, period.
So I can make a motion to approve the letter of support as long as Summit takes out the piece committing ROAC to amendments.
I'll second that.
All right, we got a motion, second. Any further conversation? Hearing none. Anybody oppose that motion? Right, that passes unanimously. Okay, we are at time. We do have item 9. How does the council want to proceed?
I need to recuse myself, Mr. Chair asked. I'm going to recuse myself as a county commissioner and from the ROAC on this discussion due to I consulted our county attorney. I have a lot of other extra knowledge about the conditions of this, and I don't feel that makes fair for me to be voting on that. So I will recuse myself.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Does people want to stay for 5 more minutes longer, or do we want to table this for the next meeting?
I'm fine for 5 minutes longer.
Yeah, I'm fine also.
That work for folks on Mayor Pro Tem Mason to
Yes, that works for me.
Zeke, does that work?
I'm fine with that also.
Okay, so if we all kind of bring us back to what in December, we got our 6-month report from the sheriff's office regarding the co-responder. At that time, we learned that the partnership agreement with Summit Stone and with the sheriff's office had been expired, suspended. And now there was not a co-responder in the sense, there was not a behavioral health specialist riding in the vehicle and to these situations. So that at the time it came up, well, are we following the intent of the contract? At that time, it was requested, well, let's ask the attorney assigned to the council to review that and see if they're still meeting the intent of the contract. That is Mr. David Arod, who also is the counselor for the county and the sheriff's office. He asked to be recused. And at that time there, we were going, okay, do we get our own counsel? How do we get our own counsel? Who does that? And yesterday we received a letter from the sheriff's office signed by Sergeant Cook asking for us to table this and delay because they're trying to figure out some processes. So that's where we're at. Hopefully everybody got the letter via email. Was that yesterday? Yeah. Yesterday from Heather. So, yes, ma'am.
After reading that and the recap, I have a little pause with continuing the pause on this. Those funds are there needing to be utilized, and I'm not certain holding them back for them to figure things out really would be a fiduciary responsibility for these funds. I would like to see them get out there and being used and being done. I appreciate the work that Larimer County Sheriff's and the past Summit Stone has done. Hopefully it can come back and they can come and request funds at that time. But I don't think it's quite fair to hold the funds up for them myself.
Thank you for that. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. And there's still a question of the breach of contract that we still need to decide on.
That's true.
Okay. Yeah, so I agree that I don't think we should, continue the pause.
Okay. Those online, feedback, thoughts? Is anybody's hand up, making sure?
No, I'm good with, I am good with postponing this for now. Yeah, as far as the LCSO request.
So you're good with the letter to pause it?
No, he said he's not.
He's not?
I don't know if it was.
We didn't hear you very well, Brian. Could you say that a little louder so we are clearly hearing your thoughts?
Oh, sorry. I apologize. I have not seen David's reply to this yet. I had only seen LCSO's request to delay the funding. So,
That's what
hold
we're
on.
talking.
That's what we're talking about, yes.
Yeah, let me quickly read that.
He's thinking we're talking about.
Mhm.
That's honest, because he's probably seen this.
Oh, yeah, that, what is on your screen, maybe we should go to the sheriff's letter, but on the screen was an email several weeks ago that we forwarded to the council from David A. Rose, who asked me to forward that to you. Did you, hopefully everybody received that as well.
Is it in the packet as well?
No, it's not. I got it yesterday, my fault. While Mayor Temp Mason's reviewing that, I share the same. And John put together, well, the approval process for the targeted approach. They're coming up, isn't it? So.
Their 6 months is passed.
It's fast.
It's passed.
And they presented.
No, for next, if we said, well, we're not gonna hold on, when's the next time?
That they have an opportunity to come back.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, their contract
Sorry.
expires for April 30th, the current one.
So if we pause this, we're already moving to February, the end of this contract's April. I have concerns with that. And we don't know it still says don't know what direction. We would need a contract amendment. It maybe be cleaner to just start something new and have them come present and their plan on what they're going to do moving forward. We understand there's been some change. We acknowledge that they're doing great work. We do appreciate the co-responder, but there's been some big changes. That would be my thought.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to that effect that we don't continue, that we go ahead and in the contract at this time. I do reserve the question as to how to proceed with the funds given.
So do we need to make a motion
Yeah.
or a vote on our motion? And then
We
we.
would
Yeah.
discuss we'd have
We
to come
will,
back.
okay, so I'll just make a motion to not continue.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further conversation? This is an item. I want to make sure everybody gets their opportunity to just pipe in, whether you're a technical member or any of that. I want to hear, we need feedback on this.
And yeah, I appreciate your comments on that, Mr. Chair. I guess I didn't realize they were quite so close to the end of their contract. So that being the case, I believe I would support that motion.
Thank you for that. Anybody else? All right, let's go to the vote. All those in favor of the motion, please signal by aye.
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 Aye. Does anybody oppose? If you do, signal by nay. That motion passes unanimously. I do recommend we adjourn the meeting, and the last item on there we will put on February's agenda meeting, which is the lived experience appointments.
Can I get clarification
Yes.
on what we just approved? Are we releasing the second payment?
No.
No.
Okay, we're postponing this discussion until.
No.
No.
Their contract has been
Okay,
Stop.
okay,
So
But.
all right. I'm writing a note to Janelle to let her know what to do. Okay, sorry.
do you need clarification on the motion and all that, just to be very clear in the minutes?
No, I think I got it.
So did you?
Contract is ended
Okay, thank
at
you.
this time. I want to bring up before we adjourn, I think we need to address the funds that they've already received because they were not used in the form in which we granted them.
Okay.
So a suggestion that my city attorney had was that the 4 entities, like all of our attorneys, meet to review the contract and see if they can come up with a decision. If they don't come up with a mutual decision, then we would hire an outside attorney.
I think it's a great idea.
And I think Fort Collins city attorney would be willing to coordinate that.
Okay,
I'll make a motion for Rufa to contact Fort Collins attorney and have them facilitate
For entities.
the four entities to review the contract for a decision on that.
okay. Is there a second?
And I'll second it.
There's a motion second. Any further conversation on that motion? I was very clear. Okay, we'll go with, all those in favor of that, signal by yay, or yes,
Yes.
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 Does
Yes.
anybody, great. Anybody not support that motion? That support goes unanimous. Now I would entertain a motion for adjournment of the meeting.
Before, I'll make that motion, Mr. Chair, but I do want to ask the council, I'd like to restart. We are down to one council member, lived experience. I'd like to bring forth to the next meeting, maybe revise our application for lived experience. Start with new terms, the 2-year terms, and set the code of conduct and all of that, and have that be something we could start in February so that we can have it be every, once a year or however long, we're starting with the new year. So we have a process with that, and I'd like to bring that back and have that maybe reviewed and looked at for the next meeting.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'll make that motion to adjourn.
All right. Anybody opposed adjourning right now? No, thank you. Wonderful meeting. We covered a lot of ground. Appreciate everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Well, we don't have any. No, he's still on, so she'll maybe things to do, but what I can do is I will send it to you as well, just to meet other time. Maybe just fix eyes on it, so you know what to expect. What'll happen is I'm gonna